Hey everyone, buckle up, because today we are going on a deep dive that might make you look twice at some of the things you do every single day.
That's right. We are talking about those actions you probably don't even think about.
Yeah, like are they legal? Are they illegal? We're going to find out.
Absolutely. And you know what? You might be surprised.
Oh yeah. I'm already feeling a little bit nervous, honestly.
Well, I mean, think about it.
Think about it. We're talking about things like dumpster diving.
Oh, yeah.
Finding treasure in someone's trash, using their open Wi-Fi.
Borrowing that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, or even like just grabbing a piece of fruit from a branch that's kind of hanging over the sidewalk.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've done that before.
Right. Like who hasn't? But is it legal?
Yeah, who knows? That's what we're going to find out.
That's what we're going to find out today, because we've got a whole list
We do.
of these kind of like debatable activities.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure out what the law has to say about them.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right, let's start with dumpster diving. I'll admit, the idea of finding like a hidden gem or something valuable in someone else's trash, I don't know, there's something kind of appealing about it, you know?
I totally get it. It's like this forbidden treasure trove.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Uh-huh.
But is it legal?
So it depends. It really does depend on the specific circumstances and the local laws.
Okay.
But generally, if the dumpster's on public property and the stuff inside has been clearly discarded,
Okay.
it's often seen as abandoned property.
So finders keepers.
Well, in theory, yes, but there are cases where people have gotten into trouble with dumpster diving, especially if it's on private property or if it's clearly marked as, you know, no trespassing or something like that.
So like sneaking behind a store, maybe not the best idea.
Probably not. Best to stick to those clearly public dumpsters, and even then, be aware of any local rules or regulations.
Good point. All right, next up, let's talk Wi-Fi piggybacking.
Okay.
We've all been there. Data's running low. You see that open network? Oh, so tempting. But what's the law say about using someone else's Wi-Fi without their permission?
It's a definite no-no.
Okay.
Using someone else's Wi-Fi without permission, that's stealing their service.
Okay.
And it can be a pretty serious offense, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it falls under various cybercrime laws.
Whoa.
And depending on, you know, what you access while using their Wi-Fi, you could be looking at civil lawsuits or even in some cases criminal charges.
So that free internet isn't so free after all.
Not at all. Better to use that data or find a coffee shop with a guest network.
Okay, good advice.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about something we've probably all done at some point.
Yeah.
Rolling through a stop sign when no one's around.
Oh, the classic rolling stop.
Right. I mean, come on, an empty intersection. Who's going to know?
I hear you. But even a rolling stop is still a violation.
Oh, wait.
It's breaking the law. These traffic laws, they're there to keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
And a rolling stop, well, it's still an infraction.
So even if we think it's harmless,
Yeah.
we should really come to a complete stop.
Exactly. Those few extra seconds can make all the difference.
All right, you've convinced me. Okay, speaking of traffic offenses, what about jaywalking?
Jaywalking. That one's a bit of a gray area too, you know?
Yeah.
It really depends on the specific location and how it's enforced.
Okay.
But technically, crossing the street outside of a designated crosswalk, that's usually against the rules.
So even if it seems faster and easier,
Yep,
it's better to just use the crosswalk.
exactly. And it's safer too.
All right, good point. Okay, now let's talk about something a little more modern. Sharing your Netflix password.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, come on, we've all done it right.
I think most people have, yeah.
But is it actually illegal?
Technically, yes.
Really?
Yeah, when you share your Netflix password with someone outside of your household,
Okay.
you're violating their terms of service.
Oh, the dreaded terms of service that no one reads.
Exactly.
So what, they can come after us for sharing our password?
Well, streaming services are definitely cracking down on password sharing these days. It impacts their revenue, their subscriber numbers, so they're taking it more seriously.
So those free Netflix accounts, maybe not so free in the long run.
Right, there could be consequences down the line.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, now this one I'm really curious about. Let's say your neighbor makes the most amazing cookies you ever had.
Okay, I love this scenario.
Right. And you're like, you got to sell these. Everyone needs to taste these cookies.
Right.
Can they just start selling them? Or are there rules about selling food made at home?
So there are definitely rules.
Right.
It's not as simple as just whipping up a batch of cookies and putting them up for sale.
Okay.
You typically need permits and you need to follow food safety regulations.
Oh, right. To make sure everything's sanitary and to code.
Exactly. No one wants to get sick from a bad batch of cookies.
Definitely not. Okay, what about this? You're walking down the street and you see some furniture someone's left out on the curb for trash pickup.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Right. A perfectly good armchair just sitting there.
Yeah.
Free stuff.
Tempting, right?
So tempting.
But is it legal to just take it?
It usually is. Once items are out on the curb for trash collection, they're generally considered abandoned property.
So finders keepers again?
Pretty much. But it's always a good idea to check your local regulations just in case.
Okay, so that vintage lamp I snagged from the curb a few years back.
Nice.
Totally legal. All right, now here's one I've always wondered about. What about picking fruit from a tree that's hanging over a sidewalk? Like, those branches are reaching out into public space. Are those apples fair game?
That's a good question.
Right.
And generally speaking, yeah, fruit that hangs over a public sidewalk, it's usually considered okay to pick.
So like a little bonus for being out and about.
Kind of, but remember, be respectful of private property.
Right. If the branches are clearly in someone's yard, don't go trespassing.
Exactly. Got to respect those boundaries.
All right, road trip fans, this one's for you. Is it legal to sleep in your car at a rest stop?
That's a tricky one. Rest stops are designed for travelers to take a break. Right. Stretch their legs, use the restroom.
Exactly. But a lot of rest stops have restrictions on overnight parking or sleeping in vehicles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they might have time limits or specific rules.
So check the signs before you settle in for the night.
Definitely. You don't want to wake up to a ticket.
Good point. Okay, now for a question that might seem a little old school. Is hitchhiking legal?
Hitchhiking is another one of those things that varies a lot depending on where you are.
Okay.
But in many places, it is illegal.
Really? Why is that?
Well, it's often seen as a safety risk, both for the hitchhiker and for the driver.
Right. I guess you never really know who you're picking up or who's giving you a ride.
Exactly. And, times have changed. We have ride-sharing apps now.
Right. That definitely makes things easier.
And safer, arguably.
Okay. Last but not least, let's talk about something that's definitely not okay. Sharing prescription medication.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Even if you think you're helping someone, it might seem harmless.
It can be really dangerous.
Right. I guess you don't know how that medication might affect someone else.
Exactly. Prescriptions are tailored to an individual's specific medical needs and sharing them. While that can lead to the wrong dosage, bad reactions, even serious health complications.
The bottom line, just don't do it.
Absolutely not. If someone needs medication, they need to see a doctor.
Okay, that's a good reminder. Wow, this deep dive has been eye-opening, to say the least.
Right. It makes you realize how many legal things we just do without even thinking.
Totally. So what's the biggest takeaway for you? Anything surprise you? For me, it's wild how many everyday activities could potentially land us in legal hot water.
Yeah, and it emphasizes how important it is to stay informed, right?
Absolutely. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and who knows? Maybe we'll do another deep dive into the wild world of everyday lawbreaking soon.
Sounds good to me.
All right, until next time, everyone, stay legal out there.
See ya!